Hello everyone and welcome to the new channel. Welcome to the Game Room. My name's Michael and I'm a 54-year-old gamer. And I'm going to be bringing you some cracking current gen reviews and also last gen. Now for the introductory video to my channel today we're going to be looking at Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Here we see Pai-chan and then Lao-chan, her daddy, strutting their stuff. Wolf Hawkfield is a wrestler, fearsome fellow. And then we have Jeffrey. Now he's a shark hunter, the finest fishmonger you'll ever meet. Oh, and who doesn't love a good ninja? Here's Kage, an old favourite of mine. Now, for the very first time on consoles, we're able to play Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, because it's never been released before. For those of you that are familiar with the franchise, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you have an Xbox 360 or a PS3, or both, you'd have probably downloaded the last version of this, which was Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown. Now, when we play Ultimate, it's got a good few graphical enhancements, mainly in the character's facial expressions. The clothing is far more detailed. You've got much improved shadows and lighting effects, and even the backgrounds that they fight on have been reworked. So basically, Virtua Fighter 5 has never looked so awesome. But anyway, I'd say without further ado, let me show you all what Virtua Fighter can do. Yes, cheesy, isn't it? I'm full of that crap. Anyway, first of all, we're going to go straight into arcade mode, because I'm going to show you exactly how Virtua Fighter is easy to pick up and play, but hard to master. Now, this video review / showcase is aimed primarily at the newcomers among you, the youngsters, those of you that have never played Virtua Fighter before, and hopefully if you're a fan of fighting games, you're going to love this. So let's go straight into arcade, and I'm going to pick Jackie Bryant. Now let's say he's a very good beginner character. He's very user-friendly, he's very combo-friendly. Now, first of all, what's so special about Virtua Fighter? Now, first of all, technically, it's unmatched. Now, don't let the word technical put you off, because it's not always meant to be something that's unapproachable. When something's technical, it usually means it's utterly brilliant. So the special thing about Virtua Fighter, every single character that you choose employs his or her own real-life martial arts fighting style. It doesn't handle like your average arcade game, where every single character handles pretty much the same, just with a few different movesets. Every character is different, and I mean completely different. You have to master him or her, and mastering a fighter will take you months, maybe even years. Again, don't let that put you off. Mastering these characters is a hell of a lot of fun. It's an incredible amount of fun. It's just absolutely brilliant. Now, first of all, when it comes to moves and movesets, you have well over, I'd say, 2,500 to 3,000 different moves and techniques. Now, when the original Virtua Fighter came out in the arcades in '94 and then ultimately converted onto Sega Saturn, legendary Sega's console, the very first entry into 3D along with the PlayStation.
Ready, go!
The original Virtua Fighter boasted 700 plus moves, which at the time was impressive. When the sequel was released in arcades and then was ultimately converted to Sega Saturn, might I add, in fantastic format, we had over 2,000 different moves and techniques. Yet the game still employed only the usual 3 buttons: guard, punch, and kick. And from those 3 buttons you could produce some of the most incredible moves and combinations. So really it meant that anybody can just pick the joypad up and pull off some pretty impressive moves. When it comes to mastering a character, that's when things are different. That's when you have to really sit down and just enjoy what you're doing and learn a character's moves, as though you're going to a dojo yourself for the first time and learning a martial art. It's the same with these characters. You're learning everything from scratch, and you're going to need them.
Start running now! Round 1. Ready, go!
First of all, the background is diverse, and a lot of them are very evocative as well. The music is superb in this iteration as well. And a very important thing about fighting games, you need a good pumping soundtrack to get you going, to get you in the mood. So, when it comes down to being technical, every character is going to handle in a completely different way. You can't just pick one and use your 3 buttons and think, I can pull off some good moves. You might pull off 1 or 2. But if you get used to a character like Jackie Bryant, which I'm using, and let's say you decide to pick up the main character on the cover of the game boxes, Akira, it's going to be a completely different story. For a start, Akira's difficult to master because he's not very combo friendly. He becomes combo friendly once you learn his moves and you link together his various body slams and shoves and barges and different types of throws. And it's the same with wrestler Wolf Hawkfield. If you decide to use Wolf, again, it's going to be completely different because he's slower, but he's much more powerful. And then you have very technical and stylish fighters like Oi, who practices Aikido. She's among the weakest of the fighters, but nevertheless, she can disable you and hurt you badly. Then you have Leon. He's the youngest of all the characters. He practices praying mantis kung fu. So he, again, is rather weak compared to other characters. But he's very unpredictable because of his stance. So anyway, when you pick up Virtua Fighter, you're in for a true experience, a true fighting experience. Now, there's the big $1 million question here before I touch on the downloadable content. The $1 million question, which is better, Virtua Fighter or Tekken? Now, when these gems were first released back in the 90s, the first 3D games that came out were, the main ones, let's say, were actually Virtua Fighter and Tekken. And there was a console war back in the day where whoever owned the PlayStation would say that his or her console was better than the Sega's version, and so on and so forth, and vice versa. So the big question is still going around today, which is better? Well, I can give you the basic answer. The basic answer is whichever one you prefer is better, because it's what you like. A bit like food, drink, movies, music. Everyone has their own personal preference. But I've been playing both franchises since they were first released, so really I've played Tekken and Virtua Fighter till they come out of my ears. So really, the best one of the two, which is better? I'd say Tekken is very pick up and play arcadey, but I think better is Virtua Fighter because it's more technical, that famous word again, but don't let it put you off really. It's just technical because it's so amazing. It is more technical, it's also very, very deep because the amount of depth you get in these games is incredible, and it all comes down to mastering the different martial arts techniques. When you pick up and play Tekken, for example, or the Dead or Alive franchise, every character you choose handles in pretty much the same way. They have a handful of moves, a very small handful of moves that come from perhaps different fighting styles, but they handle in pretty much an arcadey, samey way, which is not a bad thing because that's what those games are all about. As you know, the Tekken series was quite genial in the fact that to control it, each button was mapped to a different limb. Whereas Virtua Fighter has just the 3 buttons, punch, guard, kick, and the rest is up to you. Also, the Tekken series has preset combo strings, or at least the first 2 or 3 games in a franchise had these preset combo strings, which have always remained. Whereas with Virtua Fighter, you have to create your own combinations. You have to find the right move that links with another right move. And when you find that medium, if you pull off a 5 or 6 hit combo in Virtua Fighter, you're classed as good. If you're really good and skillful, you can produce like 7, 8, 9 hit combos or more.
Knockout.
Now the backgrounds are very interesting. They're very evocative. Now I'm going to touch on the downloadable content, which if you choose to buy it, it's worth it. I bought it straight away because I'm a long-time Virtua Fighter fan. First of all, included in the downloadable content package, which is £7.99 in UK, it's just short of $10 in the US. You've got over 2,000 different types of clothing and accessory items with which to customize your characters. You also can select whether you want your characters to look like they did in the original Virtua Fighter, which means without any texture mapping, just raw polygons, just for nostalgia. And the other thing is you can select every single piece of background music ever released for the Virtua Fighter games. And that for me really did it, because my favorite soundtracks in the Virtua Fighter series, they come from the original one and Virtua Fighter 2. Love those soundtracks. And this is Akira. If you master Akira, you're unstoppable. As you can hear, the music in this game is really pretty good.
Round 2. Ready, go!
So, for those of you that don't want to sample the downloadable content yet, there's no need, because you can still enjoy Virtua Fighter. If you find that you do like it, then you can make your move. No pun intended. Oh, I felt that.
Knockout.
So, for the newcomers among you, if you like the look of this, give it a shot. If you have your subscription for PSN, nothing's stopping you. Try it out, see what you think, and see if you can dip your toe into one of the best fighting game franchises ever, if not the best. And of course you get to watch me get my ass kicked by Akira. Yes, and when you finish with a particularly powerful move, you get a triple replay.
Can't lose yet. You'd better be ready.
Exactly. Follow Jackie's advice. You'd better be ready, because Virtua Fighter is coming for you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my first video review. And the next one coming up will be for a very special game that was only just released. It's called The Takeover, and it's my favorite genre, my favorite video game genre of all time. It's the side-scrolling beat-em-up. So stay tuned, because that's coming up next. Anyway, take care, and thanks for visiting the game room. Everybody's welcome. Ciao, ciao.